right, this is a follow-up question to a video we put out over on our YouTube channel, and it had to do with copyright and piracy and similar things grouped together here. Vegetarian Carrots, what kind of handle is that? It's a good one. Says, I'm curious what the opinion might be if you own original material, let's say a physical vinyl or a cassette tape, and would it be wrong for us to obtain digital copies of those same materials from a separate online source without paying for it? Would that be sinful? Father, what's your opinion on this?
I know we might think, well, I already own say a record. You know, I have a record player and I have these old records, but I want to listen to them on my phone, and why can't I just do it? Well, that desire you have to move the audio from the record player that you can't take around, although I know there are mobile record players now or battery operated ones. You want to be able to play it on your phone. That is a value, that is a service that someone else has provided by digitizing the song and making it available on an MP3 or whatever the formats are these days. That's a value that we would be stealing by trying to pirate a digital copy of something. So I would say that it would be sinful, although, you know, the act of stealing something that costs like $4 or so would be a venial sin. Compiling venial sins leads towards mortal sin, and that's the teaching of the church, and we would see why. Well, you go from pirating one song to pirating albums upon albums, and then we start to be at the level of stealing. Traditional teaching was that, I believe, mortal sin in the case of the seventh commandment was stealing something of value to equal a daily wage, a day's wage. And obviously people today can make all kinds of different wages, but if you think about, say, I live in a $15 state minimum, $15 an hour minimum wage state. I don't know about you, Rudy, but up here, that's 15 times say 8 hours. That represents a pretty high value. So I mean, I'm personally not that comforted to think I could steal a $75 item and say, oh, that's a venial sin. That seems pretty serious to me if I steal something of that value. So if we bring it down to the federal minimum wage, which is, I don't know, something like $7 or something, then that would seem like that would get us there.
Father, I know you had some more thoughts on this question that came in from Vegetarian Carrots. Please continue.
Would it be okay to move to the follow-up? I saw there's a follow-up about content.
Yes.
Out of print and unable to be purchased. I think in that case, the moral situation can change. If the person who owns it specifically does not want the content to be distributed, then I think that we'd respect that. Obviously, if it was something you owned and you wanted it not to be used, you wouldn't want people copying it and using it. But I think that it wouldn't actually be illegal to take and distribute content that was put out in public with the copyright as they expired or is not being made available. So that would be different. I actually have a friend who's very excited for the golden age of Hollywood to reach its around 100th year anniversary, because I believe all the copyrights expire after 100 years and many of those old movies aren't even being distributed anymore. So if you can find them online, then he believes it's going to be moral to watch them in about 10, 15 more years, some of those movies. So he's pretty well theologically informed, and just from chatting with him about that over the years, that's where I get my impression about that, but it's not something I myself have spent a lot of time thinking about. But if we're talking about print media specifically, you can't purchase it and it's out there online. I'd say right now you'd be perfectly fine to distribute that and copy it until you find out something otherwise or are contacted about it, and unless you have real serious reason to believe that the owner does not want that to happen.
There's actually some really amazing hidden gems over on archive.org. If you search for like the old Benziger brother books that they used to have, some of those are out of print, so if you're looking for an idea, you might find one there. But on this topic, it was a great video. I had lots of feedback here. I want to read one of the comments that came in on that video. It came in from Chamtastic saying, you don't really need to pirate online. It's not like a starving person stealing food for their kids. It's entertainment. And that part of our social life can be filled with other things. I thought that was a fantastic question.